Hello everyone. So you see before you the entire contents of the Skirmish set of Muscovites for the by fire and sword rules from Wargamer Poland. Very old set now. To cut a long story short, I painted the cavalry at the back there a long time ago, and then kept the box out on my shelves, intending to complete the set, and I'd lost a bit of steam. I must admit I'd lost a bit of enthusiasm, so I thought I would have a break, paint something else, and then get back to it. And years went by, literally years went by, and the box collected a thick layer of dust, which I noticed at one stage, cleaned it all off, put the box back on the shelf. A long time went past again, and yet more dust accumulated that I had to clean off. And then about a year ago, I started a sort of different system, really, different strategy for getting unpainted models completed. And I decided to have a lot of things on the go at once, but for some of them to be things that just weren't motivating me. But if I just put a little bit of paint on them in rotation around with all these other projects, a little bit of paint at a time, eventually they would come out the other end as a completed project. And that's in fact what has now happened. I finished it today, put the final touches on these figures this morning, varnished them, and assembled them all together for you to look at. So I got there in the end, but it was an effort, I have to admit. I purchased a lot of figures from Wargamer Poland at the point when the initial wave, the initial enthusiasm for the game of By Fire and Sword was beginning to sort of fizzle out a little bit in the UK, and I noticed a lot of box sets up for sale on eBay at one point. I'm not sure whether it was because there used to be a company called Staffordshire Games, who were one of the principal UK distributors of the figures, and they closed down. And about that time, there was an awful lot of box sets going cheap on eBay. So whether it was their stock that they were selling off, I don't know. But I took the opportunity then, and we're talking, I don't know, easily sort of 5 years ago, maybe now, maybe even longer. I took the opportunity of buying up a lot, but then it's that classic, sort of lead mountain syndrome that they just sat there, and I've still got boxes and boxes to paint, but I'm really gonna sort of call it a day at this point, because I've reached a sort of convenient waypoint in the project. Really don't have the will to carry on with this any longer. The rules themselves, I played a few games a long time back now, and I quite enjoyed them. The rule book was fantastically well presented, worth having in its own right, just for the photographs and so on. The games that I played were okay. It took us a little while to get around all the nuances of it, and I like the sort of the community feel of it, but that community feel wasn't so strong in the UK. Certainly in Europe and Poland especially, but in Europe as a whole, there did seem to be regular tournaments and so on being held. I think it's a sort of a period and a theatre of war that doesn't sort of interest UK and maybe US war gamers as much. So yeah, I kind of I kind of have always maintained an interest in it. And at Salute recently, you may have seen on the video I put up recently, I did purchase the second edition of the rules. But I don't know. I've now got this skirmish force, and I've got a larger Cossack force, so I've got the figures to play. Play the rules, play a game, but I've just not got the enthusiasm for it. And the other thing that is, the real sore thumb about this is the figures themselves are very poor quality. Not terribly nice metal, really in some cases appallingly cast, lots of extraneous metal, all kinds of weird things about on them. And as this friend that I did wargame the rules with has remarked as well, they are horrible figures, but they do look. They don't look bad in, en masse. They do have an appeal. Once you've got them painted, they look a lot better than they do, as individual figures. But things like the figures that are on foot holding the spears or the lances or whatever, thrusting them forward, you can't fit them. The spears are separate, and you can't fit them onto the model. The hands are in entirely the wrong place, and if you try to drill or do anything like that, you break the extremities off trying to drill holes and so on. So you end up having to just glue the spear to one hand and have the other hand waving in the air, doing nothing, not holding on to the spear, all kinds of things like that. But en masse, they look pretty good, I think. So the box set, this is, as I say, because of the circumstances in which I bought it, this is a very old box set, and I know, just watching from a distance, I know they have improved the figures. I think they've got either plastic or resin figures as well now. That happened. That improvement happened quite a long time ago now, so it just shows you how old these are. So I'm talking about these early figures, and I'm not going to remark on the state of the range as it is at the moment, because I've got no knowledge or experience of it, but all I can say is that as far as I'm aware, they have made a lot of improvements, and I think there are. I think it is a much better option to buy into these ranges than it was back in the days of the original launch of the product. Okay, so the box says that the box contains a Golova, which is like the command. Golova in Russian at least means head. So you have one Golova figure, one standard bearer, one musician, which is the group at the front there. And in this box I actually had a surplus figure, which is another command figure, so, and horse. So a little bit confused about that, but he certainly isn't mentioned, or one of these figures certainly isn't mentioned in the description of the contents. Then you have two Border Dragoon companies, which is 24 Musketeer figures and 12 Pikeman figures. So these are the 24 Musketeer figures, and these are the 12 Pikeman figures. You have two Servant Cossack figures, not figures, that should be companies or units, I suppose. It's just translation from the Polish went slightly wrong. So that is 18 mounted Cossack figures, which are the 6 bases of 3 at the back there. 18-foot Cossack figures. Now that's interesting because I only appear to have 12. I wonder if I put those away somewhere. No, don't think I have. I'm just going to go and check my storage boxes for a moment, make sure I've not left anything out here. No, they're not in my they're not mixed in with my Cossacks, which do have a very similar appearance to these. So either that is a misprint, or the box was missing 6 figures. I did think it odd that there is a different number of dismounted figures to mounted, but it's, it's just one of those things. Maybe it's missing, maybe it's a misprint, but this is all I've got. It's what happens when you buy figures and then don't get around painting them for years. And the other thing that it has is a falconet with 2 crew. So that's the entirety of them. Let's just zoom in a little bit now and see if I can get a slightly better, give you a slightly closer look. They don't, as I say, they're not terribly nice figures. Haven't, as a result, I wasn't motivated to paint them particularly well either, but they don't stand too much close inspection. So this is as close as I'll get with them, just to give you a slightly better look. In en masse, they don't look bad. They're I've done it now. They're finished. Heaven knows when I'll ever get round to playing a game with them, but I have got them there now in my collection, and maybe one day I'll feel the urge to get them out and play a game. I've got quite a lot of scenery that suits this period. Maybe this friend of mine, Wargaming Buddy, will suggest the game using the new rules. I know he's definitely still into it a lot, has put games on at various conventions showcasing the 2nd edition rules, so maybe I get a chance to play with him one day. But as I say, it's definitely not at the top of my list of wargaming enthusiasms at the moment. It's just it's always nice to finish a project, put it away, and move on to something else. So I've now got space on my painting table where I can put something else on and get going with another interest. Thanks very much for watching, everybody. See you on the next video. Bye for now.